Good afternoon, Madam Han. Thanks for your time. On behalf of Financial Times Chinese, it's our pleasure to interview you today, and we would like to talk with you about EU-China relationship, geopolitical shift, and European economic challenges. So my first question goes to how do you understand the geopolitical shift during the past 3 years, and how do you think it would actually affect the EU-China relationship in the long run?
So first of all, in Europe, I think one of the most challenging situations was, of course, the COVID challenge we had. And then the second biggest challenge we have at the moment is the war in Europe, Putin's aggressive attack on the Ukraine. And of course, lots of political issues are very much concerned by that or influenced by that, as well, like the EU-China relations. And as we can see at the moment in Europe, one of those biggest topics at the moment is energy security, energy affordability, and of course what happens to the industry in Europe, right? A competitive green industry is what we work on at the moment at the Brussels level. And of course China is involved in that process in a while, because we all know that we are very much dependent on raw materials that we need for green technology, that we need for space and defense and for other sectors, of course. So this is very much, of course, influencing as well our relationship or concerns. And we all know that on some topics we are not like-minded partners with China. For example, on human rights issues, lots of companies involved in that process, and so we are confronted with these kind of topics and challenges. But on the other hand, of course, we're interested in having a talk and a stable relation in a way to external partners as well as to China. And yeah, we have to adapt to the environment and to take new challenging decisions, of course. And we have the transatlantic relationship that is very important to us as well. And as we have seen with the IRA at the moment in the United States, we have a competition situation between the European Union and the US, and that influences, of course, our way to handle an economic situation. And of course, China plays an important role in that as well. So this is something that is challenging us. It might be the case that for China, the war in Ukraine is not the most important topic, but for Europe, of course, it is, because it has great influence on our future as well, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's important, and some aspects we have to rethink in our relationships, and some aspects we have to put in a different framework, and let's see what happens in the future.
Okay, thanks for your answer. My second question would be, how do you understand the economic challenges that Europe is facing and the world is facing? And do you think there will be a solution to the biggest economic challenges for Europe?
Well, of course, at the moment, one of the most important topics for the European economy is as well the climate change and how it threats our economy as well as our social well-being, of course. And so we have to find solutions for that. And this is what we work on at the moment with the Green Deal, with the Fit for 55 package. And of course, we need some technical parts, components for that as well to realize it, as we can see on green technology, for example. And yeah, at the moment we work on that, like with the CHIPS Act and the Critical Raw Materials Act, in a way that we really have to force, to get stronger at European level on these kind of things, to be more independent on a geopolitical way as well, and in a way to be able to produce everything more and more in a European way. And on the other hand, we also don't want to substitute one dependence via a second dependence, right? When we focus on critical raw materials or renewable energies, for example. So actually, to get stronger in a European way is not necessarily something that is going against someone, but that's something that is very much important at the moment in these times of crisis. And we all know that we need some change. Climate change is, in a long-term perspective, very much threatening for our economy as well. And issues like energy affordability, energy security is correlated to that topic, of course. And we try to bundle everything together and to find solutions in a European way, to support, of course, a green, competitive industry in Europe, and that plays a crucial role for European economy.
Wow, that is great. And my last question will be, do you have some advices for Chinese in innovation or technology-oriented companies who want to come to Europe to develop their markets, or they are already operating in Europe? Do you have some tips for them?
Well, I think, of course, I would say to the companies, don't be afraid. If there are possibilities for cooperation, just try it and come to Europe. And I mean, of course, we all know at the moment that China focuses in Europe very much with its investments on critical sectors, right? But on the other hand, we also know that innovation can be global, right? And if there are researchers and if there are good ideas, that's something that we need in Europe, definitely, because we have to implement our climate goals. We want to be, the leader in renewable energies in so many ways. So I mean, there is work here. There are challenges, and I would say to the SMEs, don't be afraid and come to Europe, and let's see how we can cooperate.
Okay, thanks a lot for your time. It's a very insightful interview. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.